Okay, I'm gonna show you real quick how I hold the yarn and my hook. When I first started out, I would grip the hook like this and grip the yarn like this, and it's not long before your hands get so sore and you're just very tense. I still have a hard time with tension like in my hands as I go, but holding your hook properly and holding your yarn properly will really just put you leaps and bounds ahead of getting, you're not gonna get all that pain in your hands if you're gripping things so tight. So most hooks have this is a B-O-Y-E hook. I think that's what it's called. It's one of the more popular hooks to use, but it has a little divot in it. And I've seen a lot of people will hold their hooks like this, like a pencil as they work. That's probably the best way to do it. I am in the habit of holding it more like this. And every time I try to correct my grip, it always ends up changing back to here. So you'll really find what works for you as you go along. You'll find out that you're holding the yarn and the hook in a way that you probably weren't even thinking about because you're focused on your stitches, and that's great. I just want to show you ways that will help you not use a ton of tension. So with the hook, I'll show you how I hold it. I just put, basically there's a little divot on both sides. So my finger, my index finger will go underneath like that, and then my thumb goes on top. And so it's kind of a relaxed hold. If I'm really focused or the stitches are really tight, it can be more like this, gripping really, really hard, white knuckling it. But in a perfect world, it should be a relaxed hold like this. And then the working yarn is gonna be in my left hand, and usually I'll just have the skein of yarn just on my side as I usually just sit on the couch as I go, and this will just be like on the side of my lap. And every time I run out of slack here, I just will pull it with my left hand and get some extra out. And then I used to, like I said, I used to just grip the yarn like this. And then I read about creating tension in your hand. If you use a sewing machine, or if you've seen a sewing machine at work, it's kind of the same concept, how you thread the yarn through the different dealy boppers. I'm not an extremely accomplished seamstress with my sewing machine, but basically there's different things you wrap the thread around in a sewing machine that creates tension. We're going to do the same thing as you hold the yarn, particularly as you get comfortable doing stitches, so you're doing a bunch in a row. And I know when you're new, you kind of put things down a lot and readjust a lot, and so tension isn't really like a #1 priority because you're always putting down the yarn and picking it back up. But once you get enough experience to just kind of be on a roll for a while, this creating tension, not in your hand, but with how you hold the yarn, will be really, really helpful for you. So I'll show you how I do that. And you'll see me in these videos, I do this kind of without even thinking about it every time I pick up the yarn. And that is basically, I'll just run the yarn over my hand like this. Here's my project in my right hand, and then the working yarn is coming from this direction. I don't know if that's very clear, but and so I'll take it over my ring finger and just wrap it around like that. And that's literally all that I'm doing. I just do it so fast and in a fluid motion, you might not really catch it. So it's wrapped around my ring finger, and then see, I usually do it without thinking about it. Yeah, and then it's gonna go over my index finger, so I can see it as I'm working. So after I wrap it around my ring finger, it goes, over the top, so it'll look like this, over the top of my index finger, and then I use my index finger to kind of move it around to create the stitches that I want. So here I'll kind of show you that in action. Wrap around over my index finger, and I'm just gonna do a couple single crochets And you can see how my fingers are all kind of moving together to make these stitches happen. You can see my index finger on the hook just kind of moving along and moving the yarn where it needs to be. You can see the yarn over my left index finger, just continually feeding it. So once you get going enough to move kind of fluidly with your stitches, you'll find that this will just naturally happen. Don't get too worried about how you're setting up now. Really just focus on creating a little bit of tension in the yarn in your left hand so you don't have to grip it so hard. Otherwise, it'll just fly through your fingers and you'll have so much slack on your right side. It'll be really difficult to work with. So focus on keeping a little bit of tension on the yarn in your left hand and released tension of the hook in your right hand. So you don't want to be gripping your hook really hard. You kind of want a nice relaxed hold on it. And use that little divot if you've got it, or like a lot of hooks have a more ergonomic shape to them. Utilize that. It's to help you relax and to help you not have any injuries to your wrists or your fingers as you do this.